I was 86 years old when my heart stopped, and for 3 minutes the doctor said I was gone. No pulse, no breathing, just a silent room full of machines that had suddenly gone flat. And yet, those 3 minutes were the most vivid moments of my entire life. Visual cue, hospital monitor, flatline sound slowly fading in now. You'd think death would feel like darkness, like falling asleep forever. But what I experienced was the exact opposite. It felt clearer than life, more real. And what I saw in those 3 minutes completely changed how I understand life, regret, and the time we think we still have. But here's the strange part. When I woke up in that hospital bed, I didn't tell anyone about it. Not my children, not the nurse, not even the doctor who saved me. Because honestly, I wasn't sure anyone would believe me. But after living almost 9 decades, you eventually realize something important. Some truths are too powerful to stay quiet. And what happened in those 3 minutes taught me something most people only realize when it's far too late, but to understand it, we have to go back to the moment everything stopped. It started like any other Tuesday, nothing dramatic. I woke up early, made myself some toast, and sat by the window with a cup of coffee. At 86, mornings become your favorite time of day. The world is quiet, your thoughts are slow, and every sunrise feels like a small gift. But that morning, something felt strange, not painful, not sharp, just a deep heaviness in my chest, the kind that makes you pause and think, that's odd. I remember standing up from my chair, and then nothing. No dramatic collapse, no movie-style slow motion, just silence. Later, the doctors told me my heart had stopped for about 3 minutes. 3 minutes where, technically speaking, I wasn't alive, but what happened next is where the story gets strange. Because while the doctors were rushing around my body, I was somewhere else entirely. The first thing I noticed wasn't light, it was quiet, not the normal quiet of a room at night. This was different. It felt like stepping outside of time itself. Visual cue, slow floating motion above hospital bed, and then suddenly, I realized something impossible. I could see my own body. There I was, lying on the hospital bed. Doctors leaning over me, machines flashing. One nurse shouting instructions, and somehow, I was watching all of it from above. Now here's the strange thing. People all over the world report the same kind of experience when they come close to death, what scientists call near-death experiences. Many describe floating above their bodies, watching events from outside themselves. In fact, studies show 70-80 of people who report near-death experiences describe leaving their body first before anything else happens. At the time, of course, I didn't know any of that. All I knew was this. I felt incredibly calm. No fear, no confusion, just peace. The kind of peace you spend your whole life searching for. But then, something else appeared. Something I still struggle to explain. At first, it looked like a distant glow. Soft, warm, almost like sunlight through fog. And somehow, I knew I was moving toward it, not walking, not flying, just drifting. If you've ever fallen asleep on a long car ride and felt that gentle floating feeling, it was a little like that, except this felt real, more real than anything I'd experienced before. Researchers say this light is one of the most common elements reported in near-death experiences, often accompanied by an overwhelming sense of peace or love. And that's exactly how it felt, warm, safe. Like being welcomed home after a very long journey. But then something happened that stopped me completely, because suddenly, I wasn't looking at the light anymore. I was looking at my life. Imagine watching a movie. But the movie is every moment you've ever lived. Not just the big events, the small ones too. The conversations, the choices, the moments you forgot years ago. I saw myself as a young man, working long hours, chasing money, thinking success meant bigger houses and nicer cars. I saw the nights my wife waited for me to come home, the dinners I missed with my children, the phone calls I said I'd make later, but never did. And the strange thing is, during this experience, I didn't just see those moments, I felt them. I felt how my words affected people, how a small kindness could change someone's day, how a careless comment could stay with them for years. Researchers who study near-death experiences say many people report something called a life review, where they relive moments of their past and even feel the emotions of others involved, and in that moment, something became painfully clear. The things I spent decades worrying about, almost none of them mattered. Not the promotions, not the money, not the arguments I thought I had to win. What mattered were the moments I nearly ignored, holding my daughter's hand when she was scared, laughing with my wife in the kitchen, sitting quietly with a friend who needed someone to listen. Those were the moments that stayed bright. Everything else, it faded like background noise. But just as I started to understand this, something unexpected happened. The light grew brighter, and I felt a strange pull, like I was approaching a boundary. Not a wall, not a gate, just a feeling like crossing that point meant something permanent. And suddenly, I heard a voice, not out loud, more like a thought that wasn't mine. It said something simple: it's not time. That's actually something many people report after near-death experiences, being told they must return. In some studies, about 65% of people say they were told it wasn't their time to die yet. And just like that, everything started moving backward. The light faded, the silence broke, and suddenly I heard shouting, machines beeping, a doctor yelling, "We've got him." My eyes opened, and the world rushed back in. For weeks after that day, I didn't tell anyone, not because I was afraid, but because I needed time to understand it myself. But here's what I eventually realized. Those 3 minutes didn't show me the afterlife. They showed me life, what matters, what lasts, and what we waste far too much time worrying about. Many people who survive near-death experiences say they come back with one major change. They stop fearing death and start valuing relationships and purpose more deeply. And that's exactly what happened to me. I started calling my children more often, listening instead of rushing, laughing more, working less. Because when you see your entire life in a moment, you realize something simple. The meaning of life isn't hidden. It's already there, in the people you love, in the kindness you show, in the time you choose to give. And the strange part, it took dying for 3 minutes to finally learn how to live. So let me ask you something. If you could see your entire life today, like a movie, what moments would shine the brightest? Tell me in the comments. And if this story made you think differently about life, don't forget to subscribe, because the next story might change how you see the world too. But remember, the biggest lessons in life usually arrive when we least expect them, and sometimes they only take 3 minutes.